Yeah, Quicken Loans is our
live coverage for you here on News Channel 8. That, of course, Tiger Woods, the man who is host of the Quicken Loans National Tournament at a Congressional Country Club. They'll play it Thursday through Sunday. He's the host. He's holding a news conference right now to talk about his return from back surgery March the 31st. Let's listen in.
Quantico Marine Base. 25 local Earlwood scholars now. Tonight, we're going down to the White House, Lindsay and I, and we're taking Darian Parker, who's an Earlwood Scholar grad from Georgetown. So we've had some pretty exciting things, and we're looking forward to another great week. Just like our commitment to the military since the very beginning has always been the utmost of importance to me and my family, and this year's no exception to that. We're giving away 30,000 tickets to our servicemen and women and their families as well.
Okay, thank you. We have microphones on both sides. If you'd raise your hand, we'll get those around. You can start with Steve.
Tiger, in the past, whenever you're in a tournament, you've always said you expect to win. Is that your expectation this week? And if not, how different is that for you?
Expectations don't change. That's the ultimate goal. It's just that it's going to be a little bit harder this time. I just haven't had the amount of prep and reps that I would like, but I'm good enough to play, and I'm going to give it a go.
Okay, over here, Karen.
What do you say to the people who worry that you're coming back too soon, trying to come back from this where others have not?
Well, I think it all depends on obviously the person's healing capability, as well as the physios that they're involved in, as well as the surgeons. And I have great trainers, great physios, and they've been lockstep with my surgeon the entire time. And we have done all the protocols week after week. We're always on calls, chatting with one another, see what's the next step's going to be. As I alluded to when I first came here for the press conference, that we were, I was only chipping and putting. But that was going to be expanded, and we had a game plan for how we were going to do that, and we did it. And I've been able to play and hit balls and hit drivers and go out there and do whatever I want to do.
Okay, Barry.
Tiger, can you give us a little bit clearer idea of the timeline of what that progression was? When did you first take a full swing? When did you hit driver? What was that?
Well, the full swing depends what club you're talking about here. So. Yeah, the whole progression was putting first. Anybody who's had this procedure done, you can putt the next day. You hop right out of the recovery room, and literally you're okay to putt. But I wasn't allowed to bend over and then pick the balls out of the holes. So what we did is, I kind of had a little creative idea, is that we had normal sized holes in my backyard, and I just sand filled them. So I knew whether the putt went in or not, but I never would have to ever bend over and get balls out of the hole. And we did that for a couple months. Then it was chipping and pitching. And then we added basically about 10 yards every day to 2 days, depending on how I felt, how much inflammation was in the area. As I said, my physios and our surgeon were in lockstep with one another, open communication. And some days it was, hey, we'll stay here for a couple days. Other days, hey, you can go ahead and progress the next day. And that's how it went to the point where I was out there hitting drivers a couple weeks ago. And then started playing golf. I wanted to knock off a little bit of rust on the range before I actually went out there and tried not to embarrass myself on a golf course. And I was able to do that, got some holes in, started feeling comfortable doing that. I think anyone who's had this procedure knows that probably the worst thing you do is sit, and sitting in a golf cart wasn't the most ideal circumstance. So sometimes I would ride on the back of the cart like Freddie does sometimes. You see Freddie on the back of a cart standing up. So I was able to do that a few times, and I was able to get in more holes because of that.
Okay. Doug?
What'd you shoot?
I broke 50 for 9 the first time, just like it was when I was 3. And so I'm sneaking up on it. My prime's coming up.
I wonder if, injury aside, I'm not talking so much what you had to recover from, but I wonder if you could talk about the kind of how much you missed, anxiety, et cetera, sitting out for a couple majors in these few months compared with 11.
Both were very similar because I knew that I could never, at that point in time, I could not compete at this level, and so it didn't really bother me. As I got a little bit closer to feeling where I could compete, then I would start getting the itch to compete and play at this level. But I knew that I had to go through my own progression first, and that was, as I explained to Barry, that whole step, that whole process. And once I got to a point where I was playing golf, then knocking off some rust and playing, shaping shots, looking at holes, strategizing how to play them, things started coming back quickly. And lo and behold, here we are. I did. I watched a little bit of it, but also watched more World Cup than I did
All right, let's go over here, Mark, in a
in
second.
golf.
Tiger, you've obviously had a lot of challenges over the years coming back from various injuries, the knee, the Achilles, and whatnot. Are there different elements to this, coming back off of this? And if so, can you talk about those? And just as a follow-up, because you were able to do so much short game stuff early on, do you expect that to be a little sharper initially than your long game?
Well, this procedure and, well, let me go back. Pre-procedure, right before I went in, as I explained to you guys before, I wasn't able to function. I couldn't get out of bed. I just couldn't do any normal activities. When I blew out my knee and even had my Achilles problems, I could still do things. I would still be able to function. But this was different, and anyone who's ever had any kind of nerve impingement, it's no joke. And that part was relieved as soon as I got out of the surgery. That nerve impingement, that pain that I was feeling, going down my leg was gone. And I've heard numerous people talk about it, and I've had people come up to me and say they've had the same procedure, and it was like amazing, the relief, like they got their life back. And that's basically how I felt. I was able to do things and normal activities I took for granted. What was the second part? Oh, short game? Yeah. Yeah, I feel very sharp with, to a certain extent. Living in Florida, we don't have ryegrass rough, so at least not this time of year. So I had Bermuda rough grown in my backyard, and I was practicing out of that, but that's totally different than chipping out of this stuff. My shots off of tight lies are fine. My putting feels good. I just got to get used to chipping out of this type of grass and the techniques that I've used and have employed in the past.
Okay, we'll go with Todd Lewis and then Bob Holtzman.
Hey, Tiger, with your progression and your recovery playing here this week, one can assume you're going to play the Open Championship. Has that been determined, or is this week, part of that decision process?
Well, I'm actually probably ahead of schedule than everyone thought I would be at. We all thought that it was going to be the British Open would be my first event back. But I healed fast. As I said, I've had great trainers and great physios help me every day with soft tissue work and the cold baths, which are no fun, but you got to do it. And when you get treatment all the time, it's amazing what you can do. And also nutritionally, make sure I eat perfect. Anti-inflammatory meals, all the different things I need to do to get back. I mean, people take it's a normality in other sports. If you play football, hockey, or any other sport, this is just common. But I think in the golfing world, look at most of the physiques, it's not really that common. But having friends who are in other sports, it does help. What they went through and what they've done and what their protocols are for their teams. And here we are. Do I expect to? Yeah. I'm just trying to get into playoffs somehow.
All right, Bob.
Tiger, at one point you mentioned the possibility of talking with Sean about maybe reworking your swing to protect your back.
Yep.
Will your game look any different when we see you out there?
We made a few tweaks here and there, but nothing major. Nothing that probably you observe with the physical eye. We look at it on video, and what I'm feeling I'm doing, it looks the same as it did before. I probably may not go at it as hard on all shots. You know, I was joking with, you know, Cookie. Cookie just came back from breaking his back, and he was actually hitting it further than I was. So that's not good. So when I'm out there pumping 8 irons 135, that's all I had. That was frustrating there for a little while, but things have turned around, and I've got my numbers back. And you know, this week especially, since it's going to be warm all week, I won't have any problem staying loose.
Okay, back over here, right in the front.
Tiger, your recovery now these past couple months, in 2011, you're 38 years old. Have you begun to think about your future in golf, not from a retirement aspect necessarily, but from just with this event, with the foundation, just maybe as an ambassador to golf, and maybe what your plans might be, kind of spreading your support for the sport and teaching the younger people the sport going forward?
Yeah, well, we have three golf events that we have. We have our World Challenge, we run the Deutsche Bank, and we have this event, the Quicken Loans. So we're involved in golf, and we're involved in all the local charities in these specific markets. But our foundation is not golf-based. You know, golf is a vehicle for us to show the world and how involved we are in education. And that is our primary focus. And right now we're in the works. We just hired our new CEO, you know, Rick Singer, and we're involved in talks of taking what we're trying to do, what we have done in the past domestically, internationally, and trying to influence, you know, other countries. So we're excited about our immediate future with the foundation. As far as my ambassador role in these events will still be the same. I'll still be, you know, playing the events. I'll still be doing speaking engagements and all the different things that I do at these specific events. But our main primary focus is to grow the foundation and our educational capacities, not just here domestically, but internationally.
Okay, good. Let's go right in the back here.
Tiger, there have been so many young guys that have had such success this year, and to a man, they all say they've been inspired by you. What is it like to look at a rising generation that you've helped create? And as a follow-up, is there any irony in the fact that this thing that you've spawned is a little bit what's making it more difficult for you to win?
I feel old. You know, I'm sorry if the name escapes me. The Chinese kid who qualified for the Masters last year. He was
Tian.
Yeah, he was born after I won the tournament. I mean, that's just not cool, you know. So, you know, that's you know, that's what's coming. The next generation, and they're taller, bigger, they're more physical, just like in all sports across the board. And golf is no exception. You look at these kids in college; all the long hitters are 6'2" to 6'4". You know, they're just big guys, and they can move it out there. You know, but the difference is, you know, as you age and as I have aged, I can't play the way I used to. I was number 2 in driving distance for a number of years, only behind Daly. Now, if you average over 300 yards, I don't think you're in the top 10. You know, it's changed, you know, dramatically. But just like MJ, you know, I got a fadeaway now. So I've had to, you know, rely on different parts of my game and strategy and understanding how course management skills have improved, and you know, where to miss it, how to miss it, and then obviously the amount of shots that I've learned over the years, not just from my own trial and error, but also from older players that I've talked to, and it's allowed me to be as consistent as I have been over the course of my career.
Okay, Robert.
Candid comments from Tiger Woods. He's out at Congressional Country Club right now talking to reporters in advance of the Quicken Loans National, which begins this Thursday, and Tiger Woods will be participating in the tournament. It's his first tournament back from surgery.
This wasn't the foundation.
Live coverage for you here on News Channel 8. A break. Back with more of our conversation with the Chief right after this.